What is up, YouTube's Mountain Man Magic, and there's a few things I want to iron out with the new Commander precons coming out. I saw that my wife had left this out and it just felt right to use it, because why put it away when I can use it for an intro? Probably I need to put it away. But I'm not going to, and instead here's 3 ground rules that I would say everyone at your table should hopefully have in the back of their mind, or you as the leader lead by example to make sure everyone who's sitting down playing at the table is having a good time. Let's get into it. Okay, before I jump into the 3 rules I should preface it with my approach to Commander and my approach to the format in general is focused on fun. I'm not there to tune decks or play competitively. I'm just there to have fun with my friends. Typically, we only get 1 night a week to play, if that, so we want to make the most of it and just make sure, regardless of what level or tunedness of deck you brought, that everyone there is going to have fun. Like, for example, when I say I'm focused on fun, if you're mana screwed, if you miss 2 land drops, I will reach across the table, I will grab your deck, I will find a land, I will put it on top, and I will say, draw a card. No one enjoys being mana screwed. I don't want you to sit there for 20, 30 minutes while the other 3 people play Magic. I know that some people, you just pick the person off, but again, unless we're playing with our tuned decks, games can easily go another 20, 30 minutes, and I just don't want someone sitting there doing nothing. I want everyone to play and do fun stuff in a Commander game. What a great tangent. We're crushing it today. Okay, rule number 1 is that your word is your bond, and that social contracts have to be upheld and everyone has to be on the same page about what means what. Does this come up much? No, because it really shouldn't. Politicking, to me, it's one of the most fun aspects of the format and one of my favorite of the game. So if someone says, yeah, I won't attack you, you get a turn of immunity, and then on their turn they go, ha ha ha, I'm gonna attack you. Not cool, bro. You gotta nip that in the bud ASAP, because the point is everyone has to have trust at the table. Everyone has to agree that what you say is what you're gonna do. But to elaborate on this point just a little bit, some people can get kind of slippery about getting them into an agreement, and I'm just not a fan of that. Be honest, be upfront. But on the same hand, if you're getting an agreement from someone, make sure you get a clear agreement if that person is going to be slippery about it. For example, I had someone who I said, I won't kill that creature if you don't attack me with it next turn. Just give me 1 turn of immunity from that specific creature. And then we went around the table and they're like, I attack you with this creature. And I got salty. I got very, very salty. Because to me, that's not the spirit of the game. They were kind of saying, they did some gestures like, hey, we have an agreement. And they went like this, and there's a lot happening. So I went on to something else thinking, well, I didn't hear no. I got the motion that I assumed wrongfully that it meant, yes, we have an agreement. Totally understand that some people may communicate differently in different situations. I got salty because I made an assumption that that person and I were on the same page. And as I passionately argued my point, they changed their tune, probably because I was whining so much. But the point is, we then talked about it afterwards and said, look, here's how we're going to do it from now on, because I don't think their intention is to try and be disingenuous, and I need to be better about not making incorrect assumptions. Moral of the story is to choose your words carefully and make sure everyone's on the same page about what constitutes an agreement. The other very common argument you'll see pop up is, I said I wouldn't attack you with this creature, so I moved all of my power to the other one and attacked you with that one. And to me, that's fine. You got to be more specific when you're asking for agreements, and you need to be more aware of what their strategies may be. Or someone may say, don't target me for a turn, but then they board wipe, and to me, that's fine because they're not targeting you. You got to play a bit more heads up in Commander and just understand that people are going to want to agree to stuff, but that doesn't mean that that person's now on your team to help you win. Everyone's still looking out for themselves at some point. That's more than enough explanation on that one. But if you have any rants you want to go on down in the comments below, I'm more than happy to read those and share in your frustration. Please let me hear it. But ground rule number 2, before the game starts, before people start shuffling, before anything happens, if you have a new person in the group especially, just get a gauge of what decks people are playing. Say, hey, are we playing our tuned decks? Is there anything that we're trying to not play right now? Because someone might say, hey, here's my new janky brew that I'm just working on and trying to get a feel for. And if you're like, here's my $9,000 totally balanced deck, someone in that game may not have a good time. This is very subjective. There's a lot of gray area here. Your group may be completely focused on competitive. That discussion never needs to happen because everyone knows if you show up at 7:32 on the east side of the library, underneath the chandelier, everyone knows it's going down, okay? Everyone knows we're not even allowed to talk. That's why we play in a library. I have no idea where this is going. I think the message I'm going for here is that you can often have a situation where someone is just being a bit stubborn about what they want to play. Someone could be, I only want to play my precons and that's all I'm going to play because I'm not going to spend more money on this game. Someone else could say, look, I've built this $9,000 deck and I want to play it as much as I can. But clearly those viewpoints probably won't work all the time because those are different focuses. They're different goals. And again, people take stuff for granted too much. It's a quick conversation. It's a really quick conversation about, hey, I'll play with this deck. And maybe you're like, you know what? I'll play with that deck, but then the next game, can we do this? Or you offer to borrow or share decks with each other. In our group, we share and borrow decks all the time because people just have to, especially if they're new. You know, they're just like piecing together their first deck. And they're like, I have cards from the last 2 sets. Will that work? And then as that power level raises, that's always fun too, because you see them get into it. You see them start putting some combos in, having some fun with it. But to wrap this point up, no one should be above the group. No one should be neglected by the group. Everyone should kind of look out for each other. And again, just make sure you're having fun and playing decks that fit whatever range of power everyone's expecting before the game starts. And rule number 3, which I think is probably the least important because it probably comes up the least depending on the power level that you're typically playing, but follow the same ban list and proxy rules. Like in our playgroup, we said no tutors for certain decks so that you couldn't add consistency into something that's meant to be chaotic. We also said you couldn't run any infinite loops in your deck, or you can't do any combos that are like turn 3, I win the game, just because we want to play jankier stuff. Or we'd say like you can only play a card that's $5 and under, but that can be a pain to maintain and track. Yeah, I knew the rhyme was coming and I couldn't think of another word to run with, so we're just yep. And whenever I travel to a new place, the proxying thing comes up because I don't want to take my fancy cards to an LGS where I know my bag's just going to be like stashed somewhere. Or I just don't want that stress of like, did someone just break into my car? Did someone pop my trunk and look for my cards, which aren't there because they're right next to me? But, you know, what if? So personally, I only proxy cards that I own, although I will proxy some cards that I want to play in multiple decks but only have 1 copy of. But in our group, if someone says, hey, I'm building a more tuned deck just to compete with these tuned decks, and I'm gonna proxy stuff like Gaia's Cradle, do you guys mind? Definitely don't mind. Like honestly, I'm fine with it because I think it makes the game more accessible, and at the end of the day, if it's meant to be a fun format where people are just playing whatever they want to play, proxy away. I just print them out, I cut them, I put them in front of a normal paper card, and it's the same width, you know, give or take, as a double sleeve card, so it just works out fine. They don't really stick out. And then they're really obvious that they're proxies because if you look at it, you can say, whoa, that's a piece of printer paper. I guess in review, you could say all of these points have a social element to them, a communication piece that you need to partake in, because if your playgroup's going to be successful and have a lot of fun, playgroup successful. If your playgroup is going to stay together and have a lot of fun, you typically need to talk to each other. A playgroup's like a relationship, right? Every relationship needs communication to be and stay healthy. I guess I gotta wrap this video up in 1 point. So if you made it this far, thanks. Much appreciated. But I think that's why I like Commander so much, because of the relationships you build with people, because the politicking and playing with cards you just don't play with anywhere else, and pulling off combos that you, again, wouldn't pull off anywhere else. It can be such a good time. Like such a good time. And playing with your friends, making new friends. When someone invites someone else to the group, I'm always excited for it. A little nugget for you all out there who did stick around. We have a salt jar. That's what this is right here. This is what I had to contribute to when I got salty that the person was going to attack me that I thought we had an agreement on. So you can see in here, got like a little bit of cash monies and a couple cards. So the way it works is that if someone gets salty, someone has to kind of call an informal vote. And as long as a majority of people agree that it was a saltier than expected or saltier than necessary outburst, that you have to contribute to it or you can't play in the next game. And honestly, it's just a lot of fun. Like, it's a lot of fun to build up a salt jar and then we'll play for it. Maybe we'll do a draft or something and winner gets the salt jar winnings as well as something else. Do you have a salt jar? Anyone else rocking something like that? I think it's just a lot of fun. It gives you a way to take a step back, laugh at yourself a little bit, just decompress the situation, you know what I mean? Where people don't leave with grudges, no one stays upset. I think it was just because I was making this video, and then after I wrote this script, the next day we played, and then I was like, no, this is one of the core ground rules we all have to be on the same page about. There you have it. How about you and your playgroup? Do y'all have any rules that you follow or any guidelines that you try and stick by? Any stories you want to share publicly in the comments of this YouTube video? I'll read it. I am genuinely interested to hear about it. And maybe whatever story you share could help another playgroup. So just something to think about. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Big shout out to everyone who hosts a game night. Way to be that centerpiece, that keystone to keep people coming together, building that community. You're awesome. Keep being awesome. We'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.